This is an Amazon Basics book lock box. I'm going to show you how to open it with a paperclip. Right now it's locked. If you'll look at the keys and you'll notice they are mirrored, right? So both sides of the key will look the same. It doesn't matter which key you have. You know, those it may look slightly different, but it'll be a mirrored key. And there are tumblers on the inside of these locks on both sides. And so that makes it a little bit more difficult to pick than, say, a lot of Century safes that only have tumblers on one side of their mechanism. But if you know what you're doing, you can pick it pretty easily with just a regular paper clip. You don't want a really small paper clip because you want a little bit more rigidity in that metal. But the first thing you're going to want to do is just completely straighten out the paper clip. So straighten it out. Then once you have it straight, pick a new spot to bend it. You don't want to pick it in, or you don't want to bend it at one of the original bends because that's too wide. It has to be a pretty sharp bend. And so just make a sharp bend in it so you get something like that. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be precise. You just need this to be a fairly tight bend. And then open it up again. And then the key to bumping these open. So what this is going to do, this is going to wedge down in the lock, and then these wires, the wire is going to push against all the tumblers in the safe. And then all you have to do is, once you get it in there, is kind of wiggle it back and forth and figure out, you know, you can feel the tumblers in there when you stick it in and you wiggle it back and forth, and then just turn it. So let's see how this goes. Get it all the way in there, and you got to get all the way to the bottom, and then you can just wiggle it back and forth. And it may take a second to just feel, but you can just force these locks. There, I mean, it's mostly just forcing them. There we go. So you just wiggle it around until you figure out where the tumblers are. I'm going to show you again with a slightly different technique. Same piece of wire, same basic idea, but just stick it in there, this time using two hands. And using those two hands to keep the pressure on both sides of the lock as you're working on it. So you're kind of spreading the wire out inside there, and you're gonna pull the spine side of the book down while pulling up against the tumblers on that side, and then pulling this side out against the tumblers on that side and pushing up. And then you'll hit all the tumblers and you'll be able to turn the lock. Not a very strong lock, but it's not designed to be. It's mostly a lock box that relies on stealth. But if you lost your key and you want to get into it without breaking the lock, pretty easy to do with a paper clip.